So you can, in Australia, we can have a greater game industry, and that adds further fuel to your fire to what Anthony was talking about before, of how to get funding from the government to support the industry. So there's a symbiotic relationship between all of those aspects. So that's all. Got any questions about?
I do. So what's the call to action here? Would you like to establish a sort of industry advisory committee?
I'd like to reinstitute an industry advisory committee focusing specific on working together, but focusing on art needs and core programming needs. We have to in education at AIE, a little plug for AIE again, we're in a good position to be reactive to whatever trends are happening in the industry, but we need to be aware of those trends. Trying to introduce XNA into the course. Is C++ still the most vital language that you're all using in and plan on using for the next year? Although I mentioned art skills as the basic underlying drawing and painting skills are probably pretty vital. Life drawing is a really important part of training. We still want to be able to, in education, offer training in the software which is most prevalent now, which at the moment is Maya. So getting feedback from industry that if there is a trend away from Maya to whatever Autodesk next take over. Storm Effects will distribute it anyway, so they get it either way. Don't they, Martin?
The other question I wanted to ask is, would you basically, if you put it together, would you be prepared to share information with others?
Yes. I mean, obviously we want to have one that's tailored for us, but I think that I came up here to say that I'm talking maybe out of school, but on behalf of a range of educators, not just the AIE. We've got arguably a really good track record of getting people into all of your guys' development houses, but there's other people doing other things, and we can't look at it just being the AIE.
Like the theme of today is design. You mentioned design as a possibility. We have design courses, on the stuff that we design, I feel like the programming, and the designers that I was quite meeting when I was young, they also came out through art and programming.
Yep.
And you also mentioned your art and programming courses, you try to teach the fundamental principles, not the surface layer. Just wondering about, for me as a designer, the underlying skills that seem to be lacking in the industry, you don't seem to be improve, are kind of looking at what the customer really wants. So, like a customer requirements analysis, or so if the customer gives you feedback, or the spec what they want, there's no analysis of that. It's all God, have you implement that exactly as they say. Whereas a good designer will try and read into what they're saying and work out what they really want. So they might say, I want a circle, because they really want a square, right? If you give them a circle, they don't know how to do this. Your job as a designer is to interpret what they're saying and get what they really want out of it. Do you think the same opportunity if you get kids out of the design course? Part of the because I mean, even the business sector is not a lot of encouragement in that regard. I just find that in the industry I work, I don't see that skill a lot. I see a lot of people freaking out and I see things come through in functioning plugins and that they have to implement. I actually see that you're not doing your job.
Are you partly talking about getting better feedback from the market in terms of a developer getting feedback from their publisher and or their distributor?
More than like a designer's ability to critically interpret that the wants and needs of a customer, like a publisher customer. Like I feel like the industry is young, they don't really have dialogue. Instead of looking for dialogue, they don't have a dialogue with the publisher. They feel like they're there to be like a master mislead.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just saying, like, if you were setting up a design course,
But getting input from a range of areas, and particularly people who are currently in the design game, would be really valuable.
Yeah, I mean, like, most of these books on design, right? But I figure, like, they're like the skills you were talking about with Unreal and, these packages, right? The core thing is your skills as a designer is
I think you're talking about some other skills there, which is one I probably didn't mention, which is just the basic problem-solving skills and a desire to learn and just that creative thinking skills, which isn't confined, obviously, to game design.
No, I mean for the AIE, we never had any mention being in a programming course or technical programming.
It's been a few years ago.
Yeah, but that would be ideal. I think that's something that I think is happening in the education.
Right, one or two questions.
It sounds like what you're actually looking for is requirements analysis, which is a standard part of the software engineering course.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems like it's something to be quite valid to include in a design course as well, because the designer and the producer are people who will be dealing directly with the client, who in this case would be the publisher, and taking what they request, analysing that, and interpreting it. That's what requirements analysis is. It's a software engineering component. Putting that into game design course seems perfectly reasonable. And it should be something that programmers have included in their course as well.
Yeah, because the programmers are meant to design it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to bring it back to this thought of having an industry sort of consultant party that comes to you guys, to an education board. I was talking about grade one, not just the one with AIE.
Yeah.
But I imagine it wouldn't involve the higher management people in terms of, say, managing directors and things like that. You'd be looking more so the people that are hands-on with the new guys that come in. So you're looking at a lead artist or a producer, or the mentor that is going to be taking these guys, and there might just be a senior programmer. Are these the sort of guys? And if they are, then if you have, say, 3 disciplines, design, you don't have design at the moment, but if you had design, art, and programming, would you then get in, maybe possibly 3 people, one person from each discipline gets in, so it would be quite a decent sized thing? Or are you thinking more of just I guess I just want to hear more of what your plans are and how you go about this, and if there are plans, or if it's just sort of a dialogue or just set something up. Because I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think that we are completely and utterly ignorant if we think that anything is going to happen if we keep ignoring like the academic colleges. Because you guys don't have any chance to catch up with us if we don't help you out. Because we're constantly moving. It's hard for us to keep up with the bigger industry overseas. I don't know how you guys have any over there.
Yeah, we had an interesting one last year where we had a studio come to us wanting some us to run some tutoring for them, and it turned out they hadn't actually worked out what they needed, nor had they worked out that they had 2 studios, and one of their studios needed this particular training, but the other studio that we were dealing with didn't need the training. They were far ahead of it, and so therefore it just put a bit of a sour taste in some of the people who came along, because yeah, exactly, and there wasn't a chance to distill what needed to be taught from the point of view of a teacher who is experienced at doing it. And by the way, that's something I didn't mention, I rushed through too quickly, is the vital thing of having industry experienced people doing the teaching and the training, so that they can not just learn teach from experience, but they can teach from the anecdotes that they're able to impart from their experience working in there. In terms of numbers, I don't have an idea as to how many people it would be. I mean, it'd be lovely to have more people putting their hand up than we had to be able to sit around a 12-seat table or something like that. Yes, you're right, it wouldn't be the MDs and the producers and the like, but we would need their buy-in, because we want the staff, the leads, to have support to go and be doing it.
Still one more, Luke.
I'm just interested, could you comment on the trends of retaining your graduates within the industry? Has it changed over the last 5 years?
I don't actually have stats on that. We can only really rely on who corresponds to our alumni questionnaires, and you get some very vocal people who are still in the industry. I think we've got a pretty good strike rate of people there and staying in developers, whether it's in the same developer or another developer. moving onwards and upwards. But we've had a pretty good strike rate of them moving through. As to a percentage, I couldn't tell you.
But
We quoted percentages a year or two ago from what I gathered before my time, and it actually, if you talk to some of the teachers at the time, it bred a bit of complacency amongst the students, thinking, oh look, I know I'm going to get a job, so I don't need to really bust my balls in the course because there's plenty of work out there. But of course, even though you guys are all desperate for staff, you're not desperate for idiots.
Guys, I'm sorry, we provide some interest as such. So we need to do it. But Bruce is here, ping him afterwards. This is actually a really important course, a really worthy course. So if you want to be involved, have a good word with Bruce. And please thank Bruce.